Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for November 12, 2021, the Post-Pandemic Office Etiquette Edition. And today, all of our stories come from the Wall Street Journal. And really, I couldn't pass up on this first one because in the Wall Street Journal is a guide of Don't Be That Awkward Colleague, a guide to office etiquette in the post-pandemic world. So what do? Do you wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? Do you ask people their vaccination status? Do you not ask them? Do you give them a hug? Do you shake their hand? Do you stand too close? All of these questions are now circulating, and you are going to have to answer those if you go back to the office. So take a look at the article and just don't be that employee. Next up, Binance became the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in the world without a license or a headquarters. But that is now coming to an end. Financial regulators have worried that digital assets have grown too quickly, frankly. And now Binance has drawn the most regulatory attention as authorities in a dozen countries have cautioned users in the recent months that the exchange is unregistered and not authorized to provide a series of services it claims it provides. So it looks like Binance is actually going to come under some regulatory scrutiny, as it should. Next up, in a somewhat troubling article, there's a feud at Smithfield's Food parent company, which shows the messy underside of a Chinese takeover. If you get taken over by a Chinese company, all I can say is good luck. But the takeover of Smithfield's Food was meant to be a crowning achievement for the gentleman who engineered the deal, but the tensions between the founding father and his son have really come into the fore around this transaction. And when you overlay U.S.-China tensions, you see things could get very ugly very early. And it started with this dispute as simple as whether American pork products would ever fit into Chinese taste. Well, that exploded into an ugly public clash between father and son. And now the Smithfields Group is paying the price for that as they're struggling or trying to wrest control of the company from each other. And it really demonstrates the difference in cultures and styles of Chinese leadership. And if you're an American company, you're probably in a world of hurt. And finally, the SEC has halted registration of 2 digital token companies after alleging misleading and missing information in their filings. Once again, no surprise there. I hope you have a great weekend from the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.